Oh, welcome back to the Matrix. You're not just the Matrix, you are the Matrix. How's it feel, Neo? And today we got ourselves a banger daily market news and analysis. If you're new here, make sure you guys hit that bell icon and subscribe. We're gonna go over the crypto news, the analysis. We're gonna go over the news for today. Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, as well as get into your guys' questions, comments, concerns. So without any further ado, let's bring the action. And of course, the top story, BlackRock has bought over $200 million worth of Ethereum this week. Rumors point to staking ETF approval in 2 weeks. And I feel like I've seen this movie before. And how does the movie go? The movie goes like this. There's something scary news event that takes place in the market. The markets are devastated. Then BlackRock is buying cryptocurrency, and then the market rises, and then retail then buys after that point. I've seen this movie. I don't know how many times have I seen this movie before? 5, 10, 15, 20 times. They don't even change the lyrics of the song. It's just the same song, different verse. Latest ETH Bitcoin fell to 0.018, the lowest since January of 2020 per Glassnode. And again, I don't know, do you guys want to buy when things are at the all-time low or at the all-time high? And I think that this is indicative of what is going to happen for Ethereum, but we're going to get into that a little bit later on when we look at the analysis of the charts, because I have my opinions on that. Update for Cetus confirm funds on Sui have been moved to a trust wallet. Funds will stay secure until return to users. This is a big deal, I guess. You know, this is just updates along the Cetus hack, which of course affected Sui. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. And this is kind of a big deal as well. Uphold announced that they are launching direct deposits on Uphold, and it comes with rewards up to 4% APY cashback on XRP. This isn't like a sponsored thing or anything like that. I use Uphold, and they were in the trenches in 2022. They were one of the only ones that I saw where they didn't pause withdrawals, and they were one of the only exchanges that I'm aware of back in 2022 when the feet were to the fire with XRP, that they continue to allow customers to buy XRP. So I thought that this was a big deal, and this is a big deal in the transition of the merging of the financial system with the blockchain system and making it one whole thing. And I'm excited for it. So this is just something, you know, nothing is everything, but everything is something. Saylor on JRE, perhaps. Michael Saylor tweeted to Joe Rogan. He said, "Let's talk about Bitcoin." And I want to ask you guys in the comments, like, how big of a deal would you think it would be on a scale of 1 to 10 if Michael Saylor were to go on the Joe Rogan podcast? Let me know in the comments below. How big of a deal on a scale of 1 to 10 do you think that this would be? I think it's a pretty big deal if that were to happen. ETH and Solana staking ETFs could be approved in June. According to Bloomberg analysts, these ETFs skip the 19B-4 proceeds may be approved in weeks. And again, it's the narrative that is crazy to me, that institutions have ruined alt season. And it's like, as if ETH and Solana staking are not pending approval. As if Solana, XRP, ADA, spot ETFs is not pending approval. The narrative does not match the facts. But let me know what you guys think. And with that, let's get into the charts and the crypto. We're going to go over first XRP or Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. Then we're going to get into your guys' questions, comments, concerns, and we'll start reacting with the chat. So as of right now, it is May 31st, 2025, Bitcoin is sitting at $104,000. Had a pretty steep correction from the breakout that we had of an all-time high, and people are ready to end it. They're done with crypto, and the disbelief continues of like, see, I told you. This is the feeling, right? See, I told you. This all-time high was just a fake one. I told you, I knew better. I'm out. I'm done. 7% pullback for Bitcoin, after doing, what was it again? Oh, right. 8 years of stock market gains in 39 days. 49% in 39 days. And having a pullback of 7%, and that's it. But in my opinion, all this is a breakout all-time high, back test of the prior range, and we're clearly seeing a bit of support here. I would like to see it chop a little bit. We're about to get a cross to the upside on Bitcoin. I've said I don't think that Bitcoin is the play. Bitcoin to me is not the play. In my opinion, Bitcoin goes somewhere between 138,000 and it might go as high as 270,000. Great. Whoop-dee. To me, that's not the play. The play is Ethereum, which we're going to talk about right now. And the altcoins, specifically the altcoins and the real deal, true alt season of sorts. This is what it feels like. The emotional warfare from the apex predators continues. The scary narratives from Trump. Meanwhile, it's the old sleight of hand. Meanwhile, BlackRock is buying $200 million worth of Ethereum. Probably nothing. I feel like I've seen this movie time and time again. But let's take a look at what we see from Ethereum. What we've had is a big downtrend, accumulation, break from the downtrend. You had a micro little bull flag. This broke to the upside, and now we're getting a macro bull flag. And again, people are freaking out, ready to jump ship. Ethereum pulls back 11.252%, and call it, pack it up, boys. See you in 4 years. And we forgot that, they were up 100% in 39 days. 100% in 39 days and pulling back to the top of the range, making another higher low. Pack it up, boys. Because that's what this is. We didn't even make a micro. Like when I zoom in here, it didn't even take out this low over here. But what do we have? We have an uptrend. We have higher highs. We have higher lows. This is a massive bull flag. The same thing that Bitcoin did. And I've talked about this. Bitcoin dominance still struggling, getting above the 702. This is a great sign. This is a great thing. And it looks like we're about to cross to the downside again. What I want to see, by the way, we made a micro lower low, as we can see here. I want to see a macro one getting to 62%. All that it's going to take is Ethereum getting to $3,000, which it looks primed to do, in my opinion. And just retail, I just love it. Like, if you look at my comment section, retail is done. They have this feeling of like, see, I knew better than to have hope. I knew it. I knew that we were going to have a pullback, and pack it up, boys. See you in 4 years. ETFs ruined alt season. Trump. It's just like the same cycle over and over and over and over again. Meanwhile, Ethereum is making higher lows. Didn't even make a micro lower low here. Did not even take that out. And finding support again at the bottom of the range. So we'll see if this time when it gets to the top of the range, in all likelihood, 2,800 is probably the next micro little move that it's going to make. We'll see if it actually breaks out from the bull flag or not. But if it does, in my opinion, that's all that is going to be required to take Bitcoin dominance back to 62%. And then we'll look at XRP. XRP, to me, is at a pretty big critical level here and was flirting with breaking below it. And it also made a higher low and seems to have a little bit of support here. I anticipate a little bit of a micro retracement to $2.43 in the next few weeks for XRP. This has been a pretty critical level all the way. I mean, dating even way back over here, we could go back, but this was accumulation. The bottom is already in for XRP, in my opinion. I have my targets here if we're lucky, which it doesn't look like we're going to be lucky. $1.80 is a good place to where I'm going to start accumulating spot. If not, I still have my longs in, and we'll see if we find support off of here. But with that, let's get into your guys' questions, comments, concerns. And let me stop recording here. There we go. Let me pull up the YouTube chat. 8 out. Everyone's saying 8 out of 10. Yeah, I think it'd be a pretty big deal, to be honest. Ski dropping the gems as usual. Yo, what's up, Ski? The farmer Ski. MJ says 8 out of 10. I'm buying Bitcoin, like storing money Bitcoin, and I borrow against my Bitcoin to buy more crypto. That not a bad play. Do you see Ondo hitting 70 cents or lower, sweeping all the liquidity? Okay, so you're asking me about downside targets, I presume here. Do I see Ondo taking out 70 cents? I don't know. I haven't taken a look at their chart. What are we at? 82? Yeah, that's definitely in the cards. It's already taken this out. 70 cents that's a spring. This was the spring. I don't know that it's going to get all the way there. That's probably it. 78 cents. I could see 74 cents. I don't know. I don't know that we're going to break below this, just especially where retail is at. I would be hard pressed if you're asking me if is it going to take this low out. I don't think so. I do not think so. ZBAC, my thoughts on ZBAC are still the same. We'll take a look at it. I want your autograph. Pause what? I was talking about, okay, so what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about Uphold. In the bear market, there was lots of exchanges that paused withdrawals. And this is why I'm such an advocate of like getting a hardware wallet or at least Phantoms. Like Phantom's a free custodial wallet. At least figure out how to store your crypto there. Because there was lots of exchanges in the proper bear market of 2022 that paused withdrawals. Meaning you could not withdraw your crypto from the exchange. So FTX notably was like the big one that went to zero, right? But even the ones that didn't go to zero, like Coinbase, Crypto.com, there was lots of other ones that they were pausing withdrawals. Uphold was one of the only ones that I'm aware of that did not in the heat of battle. So that's what I was talking about. ICP chart, we'll take a look at ICP. ETH, there's no chance ETH makes moves. Good. When all of retail collectively has your same belief, that is when ETH will take off. Can you autograph my Bitcoin I got off eBay? I got you, Edward. It's a huge bull flag. I agree. Something, it already moved 70% in a month. Literally. Literally. Down 4K. What's your average? Probably in the negatives. Down from 4K. What's your average? What are you asking me? It was just at 1300 before it was at 4K. So what are we talking about here? What are we talking? In April, it was at 1300. What are we talking about? Gavzat, thanks for the roses, brother. I appreciate you. What will Bitcoin dominance do in the peak of alt season 55? In my opinion, it's high 40s, low 50s. 55, that's within the flavor. I have a 47 target. That's where I think we're going to get to. But yeah, I mean, low 50s, high 40s. That is where I think that we're going to get to. All right, let's take a look at ZBAC. My opinions on ZBAC are still the same. Like, if you've already made a position on ZBAC a year ago when it gave you this average price, I would recommend taking profit. If not, I don't recommend buying this breakout. This is already, my first target was half of a penny. We got rejected. We came back. And then we went to almost to my second target, which is 0.007. I think that ZBAC gets to a penny. But that's not even, like, I don't even think ZBAC's going to outperform Bitcoin. We're talking 66% from here. In my opinion, if you've already, like, made your position on ZBAC over a year ago, which it gave you this price of a year of catching this, I think that, take a little bit of profits, take your initial off the table. It's already done a 6x. And then just like let it ride for a penny. You know what I mean? But if you haven't made a position on ZBAC, I don't recommend buying this. You want to buy the accumulation zone, not the markup zone, which this clearly is in. I think it can get to about a penny in all realistic. Soulflare is also coming out with MasterCard. They're waiting. That'd be cool. I'm definitely rooting for that. What's the difference of 70 cents or 75 cents if it goes to 3 to 5? Yeah, that's true. Like, I wouldn't be greedy. I wouldn't short. Okay, like, here's my thoughts on ZBEC. I don't have any interest in shorting this because although I only think that in all reality, here's what I think is probably going to happen for ZBEC. Something like this. I have no interest in shorting this or longing this because this is in the markup phase. It has not shown signs of distributing yet. But I don't have any interest in buying ZBEC or shorting it. It's in the markup phase. Let me show you. You go into accumulation, which is the bottoming structure. It was at this price for an entire year, and then it's in the markup phase. This is where ZBEC is at. It's in the markup. It's clearly vertical. We can clearly see it's in the markup phase, right? This is not the time to buy or sell, to be honest. Like, the markup phase is the time to take profit. It's not a time to short. It's not a time to long. It's a time to take profit. That's it. That's it. The next phase for ZBEC is going to go into distribution, and that's going to look like chopping at probably the 2618 or the 3618. That is when you could start taking stabs at shorting. When you start seeing a reverse of a trend, which it's clearly still in an uptrend. I don't think there's lots of gains left for ZBEC. However, I have no interest in shorting it either. That's a dangerous game to play. Shorting, trying to short the top or figuring that out. Maybe you get lucky, but my strategy has nothing to do with luck. So there you go. That's my thoughts on that. Bro, flex. That guy Jam came into the live to troll the other day. Then today he said we're in a bear market. I'm pretty sure I don't know. Listen, if you're bearish every day, one day you'll be right. Do you have any new positions to buy into? Are we in a good accumulation to buy ICP? I think so. Let's take a look at ICP. He's short-term trader. He doesn't have a portfolio. He missed every bottom. Yeah. That's fine. Like, if he's a trader, he's a trader. That's cool. I don't know. Listen, it kind of reminds me of The Richest Man in Babylon, right? The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a great book. It's a free book on YouTube. You should read it. You should listen to it or read it. But in The Richest Man in Babylon, the basic principle is to invest 10% of your money, right? And the guy in the book, the first thing he does, he's like, he saves his money, he invests 10% of his money, and the first thing he does is he buys like a fancy purse. And then his mentor kind of laughs at him. He's like, you're not supposed to eat your baby. You're not supposed to eat your baby. He's like, you're supposed to put your baby to work. You're supposed to reinvest your 10%, not save it up and then eat it, right? And then get rid of it or spend it. You're not supposed to spend it, right? And so he comes back a year later, and then the next stage of what the guy does is he invests into jewels with the Brickmaster. And that's what it kind of reminds me of. Like, I don't know that I could, take advice from a Brickmaster who doesn't have any jewels about jewelry. And so his mentor comes back to him and he says, you took advice from the Brickmaster about jewelry. You lost your baby again. Whoopsies. you lost your baby again. And that's what it kind of reminds me of. Like, how could I take advice on my portfolio with someone who doesn't have a portfolio? How could I, if I want to have advice from the Brickmaster about bricks, that's where I should invest with the bricks. If I want to have advice on my portfolio who someone doesn't have a portfolio, it's like the second mistake of the richest man in Babylon. So that, I don't know. That's my thoughts. That's what it reminds me of. All right, let's take a look at ICP. Cardano. I really like Cardano. She says, dang, I should get out while I can. Yeah, get out, bro. Sell it all at a loss. Why do people talk about another creator in your live? I don't know. SEI. All right, let's take a look at ICP. But yeah, like, I don't know. That's my thoughts. Like, you guys are wanting advice on your portfolio from someone who doesn't have a portfolio. It just reminds me of the richest man in Babylon when he invests into the jewelry business with the Brickmaster. I don't know. All right, let's look at ICP. And I'm done talking about other creators. I don't do that. I don't know how you guys baited me into it. I'm worried about what I'm trying to do. That's it. All right. So ICP, to me, we still have the Wyckoff accumulation, selling climax, secondary test in phase B and your spring, and we've still been making higher lows. So this to me is still deep in accumulation, and is on a bit of an uptrend. This was a clear downtrend, and we have reversed this. And so this is what it looks like when you go into Wyckoff accumulation. You have your selling climax, your secondary test in phase B, which goes lower. Then you have your spring, which goes lower, and you start a bit of an uptrend. In my opinion, this is what ICP has done. As long as this continues to hold with higher lows, I think that ICP definitely is a good value right here. Prime or keep getting game tokens. No, can I see more and more wealth each stream? The setup looking great. Thank you, Jo. I appreciate that. No pocket watch. Do you think 8 to 10k ETH? I think that that's reasonable. My target, the next target is 3,300. That's the next medium target. So my low, medium, high is 3,300. 7,200 is my medium case. And then my most parabolic is like 12K. So I think reasonably it's going to get to 3,300. Like absolutely. I think that there's a reasonable chance it gets to 7,200, which is within striking distance of 8K. So 7,200 is my medium case scenario. That to me is a high probability for Ethereum. When 3,300? I think very soon. Ethereum has a huge bull flag right now. Huge bull flag. I'm not too much on patterns, but this is Wyckoff accumulation. It's doing the same thing that Bitcoin did before it broke out. Let me switch this a little bit around. So on the top is Ethereum. On the bottom, we're going to do Bitcoin. And to me, this is the exact same setup here for Ethereum. And I've been talking about this a lot. But you have your downtrend, your accumulation, your break from the downtrend, your break from the downtrend. You reaccumulate with a micro bull flag, reaccumulate with a micro bull flag. You break higher to the sign of strength. You break higher to the sign of strength, printing an even bigger bull flag. Same thing, chopping, higher low structure, higher low structure, higher high structure, and then you break another leg higher. In my opinion, this move right here, which basically Ethereum is here, in my opinion. It's basically right here at the sign of strength. The next thing is 3,300. That's the next move for Ethereum. And that's going to kick off a lot of things. Won't invest a lot between October and February. Am I going to make back with your value plays? What are you asking me? Won't I invest a lot between October and February? Am I going to make a lot with your value plays? Let's like elaborate on your question. Are you asking me? What are you asking me? My phone kicked me and I couldn't hear ICP entrance. I think that it's at the higher low again. I think it's a good entrance right now for ICP. Says, damn, that could happen overnight. Like, literally. It's only 25% move for Ethereum to reach 3,300. Literally. And listen, I've been talking about 3,300 since it was at 1,400, right? I went long on Ethereum, still actively at 1,700 publicly. So it's not like we're talking about, I've been talking about 3,300 forever. Forever. My top value plays as of the time of recording. Top value is Solnic. Solnic to me is my favorite value play. H&T, Rose, ICP, Shiba, Dent, VeChain, Naka, IOTA, Flux, Theta, Krill, Suki, Raven. What do you think about SUI and the FDV? A little bit too much inflation for me, brother. It's okay, though. Like, I would love to be wrong on SUI. I would love to be face-meltingly wrong on SUI. It's a little bit too much inflation for me. Like, I'm not super involved in the SUI ecosystem because I don't want to fight the inflation. So it's about triple. I've seen worse. You know what I mean? I've definitely seen worse. But the FDV is 32 billion. So it's just something to keep an eye on. In my opinion, like, you should be, when you're analyzing SUI, you should be looking at the market cap, because the market cap will tell you the truth. So that's how you can combat that if you're heavily involved in SUI. Is just make your analysis and make your exits, make your strategy based off of market cap rather than price. That to me is the move. Says, I might add. That's plenty, my dude. But more is always better. SUI is chop. SUI is 2 million enough. Solnic 2 million is definitely a good start. Definitely a very solid start. Let me make this full screen over here. I don't know what just happened. My ad. There we go. What happened to the day of the tornado warning that you had to leave? I think there was a tornado that touched down in my city, but it pretty much left. So when I was live, my wife and kids came downstairs and they looked at me like I was crazy. Like, what are you doing? Still working? There's a tornado warning. So that's what happened. I ended the live stream and then the tornado passed and that was pretty much the end of it. I don't know. Unless I see a tornado or hear it, I'm not really tripping on a tornado. I don't know. Knock on wood, you know, hopefully. But yeah. So that was pretty much the end of that. Price prediction on ETH by July. I think by July, Ethereum makes a 3,300 move. And I've talked about this too. The camp of sell in May, go away, which today's the last day of May, or is it buy in May, fly away? I think it's buy in May, fly away, especially where retail is. I just don't. You have to think about, okay, think about it like this. The apex predators are running the show, right? I don't think anyone's disputing that. But, like, how does that happen? How does this play out in practicality, right? So, how this happens in practicality is with fear and greed and narratives, right? And you know, it's the sleight of hand. It's Ethereum is down. There's scary narratives. Meanwhile, it's the sleight of hand. Meanwhile, BlackRock is buying $200 million worth of Ethereum. So it's look over here while we do this over here. And whatever retail is thinking and feeling, they are going to trade against retail, because that's what the game really is the institutions are stealing money from regular people. And how do they do this? They do this with fear. They do this with narratives. They do this with greed. Like, who hired the journalists who write the stories? Who hired them? Do we think for a second that I am going to get over on Mr. Larry Fink? I'm going to get some information that he doesn't have. No, it's not going to happen. They hired the journalists. So what is the game? The game is do the opposite of retail. Figure out what retail wants. Figure out what retail thinks. And guess what? The liquidity is the opposite way. If retail is bullish, the liquidity is shorts. If retail is bearish, the liquidity is longs. That's it. That's the game. What about your old list? Is it still saying yes? Do you hold long term? 90% of what I do, Mr. Sanchez, is I am a holder. I'm an investor. I'm not a day trader. I trade. I open up longs. I open up shorts, but that's not what I do. I'm an investor, right? So if you're asking me, what do? I am an investor. I'm an investor in silver. I'm an investor in gold. I'm an investor in land. I'm an investor in real estate. I'm an investor into cryptocurrency. I think like an investor, and I do my damnedest to think like how the institutions think. I spend my entire time. It doesn't mean I'm always right, okay? It doesn't mean I'm always right. I get 100% correct. But I spend my entire time thinking, what are the institutions doing? Why are they doing it? What is retail doing? Why are they moving this way? That's 90% of my analysis, is figuring out these two things. What are institutions doing? Why are they doing it? What is retail doing? Why are they doing it? That's 90% of my analysis right there. If I want to hold Bitcoin for retirement, should I take any profit when it goes up or hold forever? What's your time horizon? Institutions selling soon. Well, when they do, not right now, they're not. You know what I mean? Not right now, they're not. Retail is selling right now. From my perspective, from my analysis, retail is selling right now, and BlackRock is buying. That will be flipped soon, I'm sure. It won't always be this way, but right now, from where I stand, based on everyone's comments, based on Google Trends, retail is selling, BlackRock is buying. That's going to be flipped one day, but that day is not today. 10 to 15 years. Yeah, if your target is 15 years, I would just accumulate. I wouldn't even worry about, I would just stack as much Satoshis for the next 7 years, and then you could start to evaluate. Why is BlackRock buying? Because retail is selling. That is the game. The game is what? I teach this again and again and again on my channel. Why do I do Wyckoff? Wyckoff is my bread and butter. Wyckoff is my bread and butter from the GOAT, Richard D. Wyckoff. Why do I do Wyckoff method? Why do I prefer Wyckoff method over Elliott waves? Why do I prefer Wyckoff method over any other method? Because it understands the game that is being played. Richard D. Wyckoff, the GOAT of trading, created this method 100 years ago. And it still works to this day. And it had the end in mind from the beginning. And what is the end in mind? The fundamental realization that stock price trends were driven primarily by institutional and other large operators who manipulate stock prices in their favor. The game was rigged from the start, Jimbo. That's how this method analyzes the market, knowing that there's predator and prey. It's a way of analyzing the market, knowing that there's hammers and nails, knowing that there's predator and prey, created 100 years ago, and guess what? It works to this day. To this day. Because it understands what game we're playing. The game is not read all the news articles and figure out. That's not the game. The game is not, how do I feel today? It feels scary. I better sell. That's not the game. The game is institutional and other large investors manipulate stocks and crypto and gold and real estate in their favor. So you need to figure out what is their favor. That's the game. And guess what? The game is always counterintuitive. Whatever you feel, it is counterintuitive. That's why retail is selling right now and BlackRock is buying. BlackRock bought $200 million worth of Ethereum this week. Retail is selling, BlackRock is buying. That tells me everything I need to know. What's this crown next to my name? What are you talking about? Where do you think ETH can go at institutional staking? It's still the same. My targets are 3,300 next, 7,200 is probability, and you could talk me into 12K, but 7,200 is the highest plausibility in my opinion. Luckily, I have God and faith because I don't know. Same. Can you look at VeChain? I like VeChain a lot here. I'm in an active long on VeChain. Also, VeChain is in my kids' portfolio. What does that mean? That means I believe in VeChain for the next 15 days, and I believe in VeChain for the next 15 years. Let's take a look. So this is accumulation. And this is a clear uptrend. And this uptrend has been at play for a while. Okay. So this uptrend has actually been, this bottoming uptrend, same for Ethereum, by the way, has been at play since 2019. And what we can see is, this is accumulation. Wyckoff accumulation, sign of strength, back test of the prior range, reaccumulation, move higher, back test, reaccumulate. Guess where it's interacting with? The same level that has been at play since 2019. Where are we at again? At the same level that has been at play since 2019. Okay? How oversold were we on the 5 hour? Pretty oversold, and we got across to the upside. I would say, we could wick below it like we do. Like we've seen it do this. But in the macro, this is a key level that it honors since 2019. If we wick below it, is the end of the world? No, it's not. But we can see that it honors it. And we find a lot of support here since 2019. And I would argue that this is Wyckoff accumulation. And this is a break of a downtrend. So I'm already in a position on VeChain. I might be looking to add to my position on VeChain. If BlackRock is buying, how come it doesn't reflect current price in real time? Because they buy over the counter. They buy over the counter so that it doesn't affect price, literally. I'm going to crash out. All right, then. It says, I will take the support. Thank you. Can you look at PYR? I might hodl quant until 500. I think that that's very plausible. My top value right now is Solnic. SOLNIC. VeChain versus Rose. I think VeChain has the higher probability of good ROI, and I think that Rose has the higher upside potential. More boom bust. Let's check out PYR. If you force me though, I would pick VeChain. I would definitely pick VeChain. Same thing. Like all these coins are doing the same thing. It's just a micro uptrend of higher lows. This was your markdown and accumulation. Selling climax, secondary test, spring, higher low structure. Every chart's doing the same thing. Why are they all doing the same thing? Because they're all going to do the same thing at the same time, because they're all ran by the same market makers. Thoughts on Flux? I really like Flux here. I might add a new position on Flux. I think I got stopped on my position. But I've definitely been buying spot. Yeah, this is a good spot here. This is still the spring, still a higher low. What's the best way to go on TV to find history of coins on Fibs? I seem to be getting most of your value plays with their history being short. Their history being short. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you're saying like you type in Solana and you find this chart right here and it doesn't have any data, right? Well, that's not the right chart. So just type in Solana again and get a different chart. If you have all these options, find the one with the most data, or at least over a year of data. Because to me, like, you can't really do proper now. By the way, my God, this is following this perfectly. You can't really do proper analysis without more than a year of data, in my opinion. That is kind of the threshold. So there you go. If that's what you're asking, if you're finding charts with low data, it just means that this liquidity pool or this trading pair was just added to this certain exchange. Just find a different exchange that has more data. What's next for Sonic? What's next for Sonic is on-chain. What's next for Sonic is staking, which is already live, getting out of beta. In my opinion, I think we're going to go north of $40 million market cap. My beard bet is that Sonic will reach minimum of 7.5 cents by the end of the bull market, or I will shave my beard. That is my bet. I have bet my beard at least 10 times. I have shaved my beard 0 times. Ultimately, my targets for Sonic are 10 cents, $1 medium case, and my bull case is $5.89. Can you look at Crow? I sure can. Someone was asking about the tokenomics on Crow. They've done some weird stuff as far as like, I don't know. So let's see if it reflects on market cap. Okay, so it looks like there's a decent bit of inflation because they like unstaked a lot of their Crow or something. So $2.77 billion market cap. FDV is $10 billion. So that's pretty much the same as Sui. So again, I would be making action based off of market cap. So retracement market cap is going to be around $10 billion market cap. And then parabolic is going to be around $40, $50 billion market cap. So I would take action on Crow based off of market cap. We'll see how they inflate this and when the next unlocks are. I don't love that they did what they did. I don't think that that's awesome. How they just like, they burned 70 billion and then they unburned it. There is no such thing as unburning. So that to me tells me that they did something sketchy. We'll see how it reflects with the price. I do like Chronos. I like their chart a lot. I just don't like that action that they took. How much are the Sonic NFTs? 0.25 Solana. 0.25 Solana. 2 of them get you lifetime access to the Telegram. 0.2 VeChain or 20 cent VeChain still valid? Yes. You got to switch it up, shave every time you're correct. No. Listen, biblically, David shaved his beard out of shame, not because he was proud. Is Sonic staking compounded monthly? It's a so if it's going to be 3% for 90 days. So technically that could, if you take that and you would have to recompound it yourself. If you were to stake 100,000 and you get 3%, that's 3,000. Then you could restake the 103,000. It would compound like that every 90 days. But it's not auto, if that's what you're asking. But yes, it could. It could. But there will be, so it's going to be 3% for 90 days. It's going to be 7% for 180 days. It's going to be 15% for 360 days. And it will be 31% for 720 days, whatever 2 years is. So the longer you go out, I guess you could say it has compounded. Can you do analysis on move? Algo price prediction still the same, 222 and then $8. Is Bitcoin going to dip to 100K? That's plausible. I've made the case that like reasonable Bitcoin could pull back to 96K, but I don't think that that's the highest plausibility. And I also think that altcoins from this point forward are going to outperform Bitcoin. And I talked about that. Like, so I think the dips reasonably for the altcoins are going to be less for Bitcoin. I don't think that we go to 100K. I don't think that that's the highest plausibility. But I do think that there's a reasonable chance we get to 96K and that would still be fine. But in all likelihood, 103.1 or wherever we got to is the lowest that we're going to get to. Yeah, there's a lot of support over here. So I don't think so. It would be reasonable to backtest even this range here, but I don't think that that's what we're going to do. Best way to buy Solnic. The best way to buy Solnic is on Phantom. Just buy Solana on Phantom and then swap it. But you can also buy it on Solflare. You can buy it on Crypto.com wallets. You can buy it on Coinbase wallet. You can buy it on Zbeck the exchange. Not Zbeck. SetoX the exchange. Zbeck, Joe, in my opinion, if you've made your position on Zbeck, which it gave you a year of the same price, congratulations. Consider taking profit. It's already hit my first target, which was half of a penny. It's approaching my second target, which was 7/10 of a penny. And my final target is 1 penny. There's not much left there for Zbeck. You're talking 60%. I think that Bitcoin will outperform Zbeck from this point. If you don't have a position on Zbeck, I do not recommend making a position on Zbeck. If you do have a position, consider taking your initial profit out and then letting the rest ride. That's how I would play it. Dogecoin, brother. I think Dogecoin gets to $1.11 as high as $2.22. That is my targets for that. No, not 5 cents on Zbeck. 1 penny is my target. Half of a penny was my first target. I would love to be wrong. What would Bitcoin have to get to for Solnic to get to $5? 207. 207K. That could be enough for Solnic to get to $5. Picoin, is it legit or a scam? I'm not going to call it a scam, but I'm not going to call it legit either. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of Picoin. I think it's kind of misleading what they do. They, we'll take a look at Picoin. There's a lot of inflation on Picoin. So, like, is it going to be a great ROI investment? I don't think so. Let's take a look. So their market cap is 4.6. Their FDV is 64 billion, meaning they are going to 12x the supply on your head. They are going to dilute the supply of pi by 12x. They're going to dilute the product by 12x. So you cut it, you have your kilo, you cut it, that's 1. You cut it again, that's 2. You cut it again, that's 3. They're going to do it 12, they're going to cut it 12 times. So that's not a good product from an investment perspective. And what they do is very misleading to me. They say that you can mine crypto from your phone. And that's not what's happening, because I'm a miner. I know how much computational power is required to actually mine crypto. It's not going to happen from your phone. What they're doing is they're mining your data, and then they're giving you rewards for it. That's fine, but that's different than mining crypto. They're not mining crypto. They're mining your data. They're selling your data, and then they're giving you a little reward for that. That's cool, but that's different than mining crypto. But just from a straight up tokenomics perspective, to me, it's not worth investing in. Caspa, I think Caspa has bottomed. Solnic price, the current market cap is like $5 million market cap, somewhere in there, I think. $5.1 million market cap. It's about half of a penny. Target for Link. My target for Link is $38 minimum, $78 medium, and $178 is my bull case scenario. What's your opinion on CAS? All right, we'll look at CAS and then Mover. I think that CAS is bottomed. I think that CAS's chart looks good. Yes, this is a back test of the prior range. This was the bottom over here. Back test of all this. This got way oversold too, all the way down to 9. So yeah, to me, this is already bottom. Even in the micro, but definitely, I don't think we're taking out any of this. This is just your sign of strength back test. This is textbook Wyckoff accumulation. This is about as clean as it gets. Selling climax, secondary test, spring. Sign of strength back test. This is very, very good looking chart. It's an extreme value. Reasonably, I think Caspa gets to 15 cents. That's the retracement. Parabolic is 45 to 60 cents. I think the Caspa is bottomed. Even in the micro, I think it's bottomed. So there you go. LCX $1 to $2. When do you think ETH will pump? Very soon. Very, very soon. I think by July we get to 3,000. Let's check out Mover. Yeah, I think reasonably by July we get to 3,000. How you guys like the new setup, by the way? We looking crispy or what? It says I see a few Sonic in the chat. It's Solnic, SOLNIC. You can type it in on CoinMarketCap. SOLNIC. Current market cap of $5.1 million. It'll bring you to the website, to the Telegram. This is the contract address right here, XTZ9. These are the wallets. You can get it on all these different wallets. So there you go. Learn all about it. Crispy for show. The wilderness setup was fire. Near, I think Near does a 3 to 5x. Optimism. All right. I forgot. I got distracted. Okay, again, selling climax, spring, test, uptrend. This looks pretty good. So I'm going to pull a micro fib here on mover. All the charts look the same. Retracement is $14. Parabolic is $49. And that is just the micro. I would probably take profit pretty aggressively on those. And then I would macro retracement. Your setup looks like you deserve to get rich with all you do for everyone. Appreciate you. Casper, I'm not a fan of Casper, the red one. All right, let's check out Optimism. Not a fan of that one. Too much inflation. Optimism. Okay, this is officially broken this downtrend, and it's on micro higher lows at this moment. This is a big downtrend, and you started going into accumulation. Retracement is $1.90. Parabolic is $6.20. AVAX. 200 to 300 for AVAX. I like AVAX here. LPT. I don't mind this. This looks like a breakout. This looks like accumulation in the macro and accumulation in the micro. Your markdown, Wyckoff accumulation. This looks like your sign of strength. You'll probably get a back test back to about 830 before moving higher. The macro retracement is $48. I would definitely take profit here. Macro parabolic is $180. XEN is 6, 8, and 10 cents. Quant minimum 300, but I think the plausible is 700. Or not plausible. The probable to me is 700, but minimum is 300. Can you look at cloud on ICP? Yeah, make sure you guys spam the like button, hit the share. Drop a follow. I go live every single day. I've called video evidence every single bottom that we've had from 2022 with video evidence. I have called it. There has been one false alarm that I said the bottom was in and I was incorrect. That was in February. Other than that, 9 times I have said that the bottom was in. 8 times I was correct on the day. There was 1 time I was incorrect. That was February. I have receipts. Okay, this looks really good to me. This looks like an accumulation. Massive markdown, right? So what am I talking about here? So you go into distribution, and then you start your markdown of distribution, which is your phase E, which is just a bear market. That's all that is. That's what this is. This is distribution. You're marked down. You go into reaccumulation. You have your selling climax, your secondary test. This is already starting on the sign of strength, in my opinion. This is probably near the 236. I don't know. Yes. Okay, so the sign of strength, this you could classify this as the sign of strength. The full retracement is 38 cents. You could get a back test, by the way. That would not be weird. Back to about 6 cents. Full retracement, I would take profit here for sure, 39 cents. Parabolic, $1.40. Can you chart Dogecoin? I like Dogecoin, $1.11. Your setup looks cool, man. You deserve to get rich with all you do for everyone. I appreciate that. I am rich, but I appreciate it. Is the total 3 done? Dropping. Let's check out the total 3. 88 targets. 2, 4, 6, 8. Low, medium, high. Super high. Where is the total 3? Where are you? I'm so sorry. All right, that's enough. Enough before they see us. Where's the total 3? Is this it? I need to pull this out a little bit. That's the total 2. Here we go. Is the total 3 done dropping? I think so. This is a back test. High or low? Like, again. So that's good. Mike is asking the right questions. The total 3 tells you the entire market, basically, of the altcoins. And I just want you guys to think about this. All this is a higher low. All this is a higher low. Here's the low that we had back in May. Here's the low that we had back in April. Here's a new higher low. And like how freaked out retail is and ready to jump ship. How freaked out retail is ready to jump ship from a higher low. That's the game. Listen, guys. Here's free advice. Get a daggone notebook and journal how you feel at prices, what the narratives are. Keep doing this. Journal it at euphoria. Journal it at fear. Keep doing this. And you will become calloused. And you will have something to... You could have something to draw from. Is it over, Ski? Are we cooked? It's just a higher low. We're not cooked. It's not over. I like Raven Coin. Ski, do you think Bitcoin's done going down in the mini dip? I think so. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the plausibility that Solnic gets to 50 cents this bull market? I think that's a high reasonable expectation. What is that? That's $500 million market cap. That would still be a low cap. It would be a higher low cap, like a medium cap, schmedium cap. What is the reasonable expectation that Solnic gets to 50 cents this bull market on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm going to give it a 7. What is the reasonable expectation that Solnic gets to 50 cents by the next bull market? 10. Not financial advice. The bigger the freak out, the bigger the FOMO. Literally. Like, literally, guys. I want you guys to think about this. I'm glad that Mike asked me to look at the total 3. Because this is just a higher low. That's all it is. And just think about your neighbor. Think about, like, my comments. Look at my comment section. People are pissed. It's a higher low. We have not made a new low yet. And retail is freaking out. Where are you? What do you think about Sui? I'm not a huge fan. It's okay. I think it leads the market. It's a little bit too much inflation for me. Let me give you my targets for Sui. Sui, listen, okay, here's my thoughts on Sui. Sui kind of leads the market a little bit. I think that Sui is car-changing money, right? If your expectation is car-changing money, meaning if I invest $7,000, is Sui going to upgrade my Toyota Camry to a Lexus? I think that that's reasonable. If you invest $73 and you think you're going to retire your lineage from Sui, I don't think that that's reasonable. But I reasonably think that Sui will 1x from here. As high as a 2.6x. Those are my targets for Sui. So what is that on price? So 1x from here is $6.50. 2.5x, 2.6x, $11. Those are my targets for Sui. So $6 to $12. Which is great compared to the stock market. You're crushing. You know what I mean? Dot. I like Dot. I'm in a long on Dot right now. Is Chainlink past card changing money? I think so. Nice guy. Thanks for the goats, bro. Yes, savage. Is Chainlink better than new card money? I think so. It's not lineage changing money, but it is maybe house. Maybe you could upgrade your house. If the total 3 breaks a higher low, can we start to panic? I don't know if panicking is ever the right option, but reevaluation, I think, would be the correct thing there. Okay. So so the question is, if the total 3 breaks a lower low, is it time to panic? The time is never to panic. Panicking is never the answer. But what I will concede is if we make a lower low, it's time to reevaluate. That's what I would say. Can 50K turn into 500K? Absolutely. I just want to quit my McDonald's. Let them know, Ski. The same thing about Ondo. Basically, yes. 1 to 3x, you could call it. 1 to 3x. Make sure I spam the like button, hit the share, drop a follow, subscribe on YouTube, hit that bell icon. I go live 6 days a week, no matter where I'm at in the world. I was live from the wild last week, y'all. I was outside going live, recording videos for you guys. No matter where I'm at, I'm bringing the heat. I'll be uploading shorts every single day. What do you think about Render? I think Render gets to $20. VeChain is lineage potential. VeChain is pretty close. I like VeChain a lot. I'll put it to you this way. My lineage has VeChain in their portfolio. Where are we going short term? Chopping. But I think we've bottomed. Chopping up. My lineage has VeChain in it. Ondo. 1 to 3x for Ondo. That's the reasonable expectation. The reasonable plausibility. My God, Sui already did a 12x this bull run, and people still think it's going to do another 12x. Literally. And it's not even that it just did a 12x, right? Because you could see something do a 12x. It's a 12x, and it's in the top 15. You know what I mean? It did a 12x, and it's in the top 15. Is it reasonable to expect it to do another 12x? No. Could it? Yes. Would I come out here and be like, ha! Like, do I want to come out here and you guys just point and laugh and say, nana boo boo, stick your face in doo doo, Ski. We told you. Ha ha ha. I would love for that. Truly. But I think reasonably what we can expect based off of market cap, based off of charts, a 1 to 3x. And that's really good compared to the stock market, because that's basically like, you know, a 3x in the stock market. That's like going to work, putting in your 40 hours, investing in the S&P 500 for like 30 years. That's great. You just get 30 years of your life back. That's great. Is Arrow on a downtrend? I don't think so. When do you think alt season is going to happen? 3,300 for Ethereum. We'll kick it off. And I think that happens very, very soon. Is Pinlink backtest done? Reasonably. So let's pull up Arrow, actually. You know what I mean? I don't root for any coin to do bad. I don't want anyone to lose money. I just want to make sure you guys have the right expectation and play the baseball method. What is the baseball method? The baseball method is be conservative. Take profits, take profits, take profits. Once you've recouped your initial, then swing for the fences. Go ahead. Swing for a grand slam, because guess what? You can't strike out. And a grand slam in crypto is not 4 runs. It's 40 runs. It's 400 runs. I just advocate that people, are conservative at first. That's all. Thoughts on Quant? I think Quant bare bones gets to 300. The highest probability is 700. No. So Arrow was on a downtrend. It has clearly broken a downtrend and is now on a uptrend. This is a higher low right now. Yeah, I don't think so. This is just a higher low. My targets are 150, as high as $5. That's a 10x actually for Arrow. I think it's more plausible that it's going to get to 150. Sir, I asked you about Mara a few times and you completely ignored me. I didn't completely ignore anybody. I didn't ignore nobody. I just have a lot of people, a lot of bodies. Don't take it personally. There's a lot of bodies. MARA. I don't think there's enough data on this, brother. Let's see. I don't mind this. It was in a downtrend. Now it's in an uptrend. Higher lows. Let's see if this higher low holds. Looks pretty good if it does. Not a ton of data for me to like project for you. You're at the 236. That's a good value. $20 is reasonable. High probability of $20. $60 is plausible. Dynex looking great right now. I agree. Dynex is clearly broken a downtrend. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I brought Dynex to you guys too early. But I think we have finally broken this downtrend. And it has started to wake up. Well below. What about ZBAC? Goodbye? No. ZBAC is a good sell. ZBAC is a good take profit and hodl. I would not add a new position on ZBAC right now. No. ZBAC is in your mark up. Listen. I'm going to give it brass tacks to you. Brass tacks, here's the game. The game is that it's ran by institutions. Here's the game. There's accumulation. There's 4 phases of the market. 4 phases. 4 phases. How many phases? Somebody say it in the comments. How many phases are there? There's 4 phases. All right? There's accumulation. That's phase 1. There's the markup. That's phase 2. There's distribution. That's phase 3. And then there's the markdown. That's phase 4. Normally, people call the markup the bull market. And normally they call the markdown the bear market. Okay? Accumulation is the only zone that you want to make heavy positions. You can buy outside of this zone, but this is where you want to make your heavy position, in accumulation. The markup is for enjoying the ride, taking profits along the way. Distribution is when it's time to get out. And the markdown, you want to wait for a downtrend to break, and then you start to reaccumulate. ZBAC is here, in my opinion. It's deep in the uptrend. It's deep in the markup. It's not for buying. It's for taking profit. ZBAC gave you a year of accumulation. Let me show you. It gave you a year. A year of accumulation. Look at this. This is accumulation. Wyckoff accumulation. Let me show you the technicals of what accumulation looks like. Tell me this doesn't look like ZBAC for a year. Tell me that that's not the same thing. That is accumulation. That's literal textbook. It gave you a year of this price. That's what you want to buy. It's already started the phase E. The phase E is the markup. This is the markup. It's somewhere near the end of phase E, in my opinion. I would not buy this. It already hit my first target of half of a penny. It's near my second of 7/10 of a penny. And my final target is 1 penny. No, thank you. It already got within 40%. The next phase for ZBAC is going to be distribution. It could be here. It might be there. It might distribute at the 2618. That's very plausible. It could distribute at the 3618. It might even do something like this. That's the next thing, though. And then it's going to go into the Mark E. And it's going to backtest all of this all the way back. It's going to go all the way back to 3/10 of a penny and do it all over again. That's what's in store for ZBAC. So if you want to play musical chairs, go ahead. But it gave you a year of this price. A year. Yes, 5% is the current rate, but it's going to get changed to 3% on 90 days. Yeah, he knows everything. I know something, bro. I've called 9 bottoms publicly, video evidence on the day, including April 7th, 2025. I made a video. The bottom's in, boys. We're not going any lower. Bitcoin was at 74K. I went long at 78K. Ethereum was at 1,300. I went long at 1,700. I know something. I don't know everything. I don't know everything. I get things wrong. But I tell you what I do. Here's what I do. And you can understand my bias, the filter, which I view the market. I am constantly doing Wyckoff. What is Wyckoff? It understands what the game is. What is the game? The game is institutional and large corporations are running the show. I'm not going to trade against them. Does this make me retail? Yes, I am still retail. But I spend my entire time analyzing what are the institutions doing? Why are they doing? What is retail doing? Why is retail doing? That is 90% of my analysis. So am I institutions? No, I am still retail. But I spend my entire time trying to figure out what is retail doing? What are the institutions doing? When does Wyckoff not work on new cryptos? I would say on stuff less than 6 months. Anything less than 6 months, you're not going to see like a strong correlation. But it still works. But if you have more than a year, like I've yet to see it not work. What's the website you're using? I use TradingView. TradingView is what I use. All right. That's going to be it for this time, guys. I'm going to go have dinner. All right. That's going to be it for this time. I go live every single day. I'll be live probably around the same time, maybe 6 p.m. tomorrow. My normal time is about 4 p.m. Central Time. I'm kind of in a little bit of limbo here with the graduations. I got another graduation to attend on the 8th. So little bit of a mixed bag on a schedule for the next week or so, but I'll be back on. I'll still be just going live. It's just like the times are going to be a little random, but I'll try to put it out on Twitter and I'll try to put it out on Telegram. My normal time is 4 p.m. Central. Tomorrow is going to be 6 p.m. Central time. I upload videos. I upload 2, 3, 5 shorts every single day. I upload long videos, 10, 20-minute videos. I would put my track record against anybody. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I appreciate each and every one of you guys.